Hi students, welcome to my another lecture session. And in this lecture session, we will be talking about employee discipline, and this would be lecture number 3. Earlier, we covered lecture number 1 and 2, and let us see what are the topics we covered earlier in our previous video. We tried to understand about employee discipline and objectives of employee discipline. We already discussed significance of discipline. We already discussed causes of indiscipline. We already discussed. Now let us see what are the topics we'll be discussing today. See, today our learning objectives would be misconduct, means types of misconduct we'll be talking about. Types of disciplinary action, what kind of disciplinary action will take in case of misconduct or in case of employee indiscipline. Then what would be the appropriate guidelines for taking disciplinary actions, and we'll be talking about hot stove rule. So let us proceed further. Now, today's first topic is types of employee misconduct or types of employee discipline. In any organization, in each and every organization, on day-to-day basis, management experience various kind of indiscipline from the end of the employees. Some are serious, some are not so serious. So let us see what are the kinds of indiscipline. First type of indiscipline that have that may cause minor harm in organizational context, that have minor infractions, minor implications. Okay, these are examples are carelessness. Because of carelessness, accident may happen. Because of negligence, loss may occur in an organization. Dress code violation, late coming. Late coming is not desirable behavior. Absenteeism also without intimating, or frequent absenteeism. These are not also desirable behavior. So, but these have minor infractions. But we need to remember that if any employee is repeating the same mistake again and again, that may become serious issue. Okay. Now major infractions. Major infractions like which are harmful for an organization, like cheating. If an employee is cheating, if an employee is telling lie, if he is hiding some information, if he is stealing, an employee is stealing, that maybe if he is stealing money or an important document. So these have major implications. These are more harmful. Next, these are the most serious indiscipline in an organization, like giving threat to another employees, using weapon in an organization, using drug, alcohol. So these are intolerable offenses. So three types of mistakes, three types of indiscipline we have discussed here. One is minor, another is major, and other is intolerable. That means which we cannot tolerate at any cost. Now the question is, if this kind of indiscipline is happening in an organization, what to do? What management will do? Okay, let us see. Obviously, we'll have to take some kind of disciplinary actions. We'll have to take some steps so that this kind of indiscipline doesn't arise in an organization. We'll have to take disciplinary action so that we can run organization smoothly. So what are the disciplinary actions? Let us discuss. First, these are the first type of disciplinary action, oral warning. Oral warning, that means verbal warning. If any employee is doing some kind of mistake which is not desirable, which organization doesn't want, then in that case, management can give oral warning. No, I'm giving you warning, you should not do it. So this is called oral warning. So this oral warning would be given in kind of minor issues, minor indiscipline, like absenteeism, like late coming, like carelessness, not accepting responsibility, which are not so harmful. So in that case, management may give oral warning. Next type is written warning. If any employee, in spite of giving oral warning, if that particular employee repeats the same mistake again and again, in that case, management will go for written warning. So in written warning, what happens? You can see here, in written warning, what happens? The warning would be written and it would be given to the employee. You have been given a lot of warning, and in spite of that, you are repeating same mistake, so will not tolerate further. So in written form, it would be given to the employees. So this is called written warning. In case of written warning, what we will do, basically, the written copy would be documented for future reference. We'll document one written copy for future reference that this particular employee has been given written warning, so that we can take steps in future if that particular employee repeats the same mistake again. So we'll have reference that on this date he had been given written warning. So it'll be documented. We'll keep it in a file. Next is suspension. Suspension means suspending employees. So suspension happens. We can suspend employee. Management can suspend employee in case of serious issue, very serious issue. But again, we'll have to keep it in our mind that while we are suspending employee, that employee will not come for the work. So we'll have to analyze from another aspect: can we afford it? Do we have any backup plan? If we suspend a particular employee for a few days, if he is not coming work, then will we be able to run our organization smoothly, or run a particular operation where he was engaged? Do we have any backup plan? That we'll have to analyze at first. Then we can go for suspension. Then we can suspend a particular employee. So in case of suspension, what happens? Suspension allowances would be given to that employee. Okay, investigation, will do investigation whether that particular employee has done this kind of mistake or not. So we'll try to collect the facts in his suspension period. Then we can take action, or we can punish that particular employee depending on the facts that we have found during his suspension period. Okay. Next, demotion. Demotion means reduction in rank. Suppose he was a manager, we'll demote him as assistant manager. So demotion, when we'll go for demotion, when management can go for demotion, when we cannot effort suspension, when management cannot effort suspension, then only we'll go for demotion. Because suspension is associated with manpower loss. The employee will not come. But if we punish that particular employee by demoting him, he will learn a lesson that whatever he has done in the organization, that was not accepted. And in spite of giving warning, he did the same thing. So in that case, to teach a lesson to that particular employee, we can demote him. Okay, so this is called demotion. Then pay cut. Pay cut, when will pay cut is that we'll cut some certain percentage from his salary. We'll punish the particular person, will punish that particular employee by reducing certain percentage from his salary. That is called pay cut. Now the most serious disciplinary action would be dismissal or discharge. This has very severe implication. This is very serious, because in case of dismissal or discharge, the employee would not be associated with that particular organization, will be out from the organization. He will not come to the organization in future. Okay, so this is called dismissal or discharge. So in case of the difference between dismissal or discharge, dismissal is more serious than discharge. Why? In case of dismissal, the employee would not be given any kind of benefit. Any kind of benefit, the employee, no benefit would be given to that particular employee. But in case of discharge, few benefits would be given to the employee so that he can survive. Okay. So this, when we will do it, in case of tolerable offenses, intolerable offenses, like using drug, using weapon, um, alcohol. Okay. So in these serious cases, we can go for dismissal or discharge. We can say goodbye to the employee. No, you do not. No, there is no need to come to the work again. Okay. So these are the kind of disciplinary actions. So here we have seen that this would be the first step. This may be considered as the first step, oral warning, and this would be considered, dismissal and discharge would be considered as the extreme stage. Then let us see what would be the guidelines for disciplinary actions. See, while we are punishing a particular employee, while we are taking some kind of disciplinary actions against that particular employee, we need to be very, very careful. Why? Because disciplinary actions, especially punishment, it is associated with a lot of things, a lot of negative things. If you are punishing employee, then anxiety may, the environment may become bit hot, bit serious. That employee may develop anxiety. The employee may be demotivated. Obviously, he will be demotivated. But you will have to take this kind of disciplinary action because, in spite of giving warning, repeated warning, he has done something wrong, which was not desirable for the environment, for the organization. So you need to careful. You need to handle the situation very carefully. This is guideline number one. Number two, disciplinary action. Our intention should be corrective rather than punitive. Corrective rather than punitive means, again I am saying, in case of disciplinary action, management should not have intention that I'll punish that particular employee. No, this is not our intention. Our intention is to rectify the employee. Our intention is to correct the employee so that we can run the organization smoothly. So if we are focused too much on how I'll punish that particular employee, then what will happen? We'll be focused on punishment, but never ever will focus on how we can rectify the employee. Okay, so disciplinary action should be corrective. We'll have to think how we can correct the employee, how we can rectify his behavior. That we should keep it in our mind. Next, disciplinary action should be progressive. Progressive means, as you have seen here, there are a lot of steps are there. So in case of disciplinary action, you cannot follow the extreme step at first. If the issue is not so serious, if the issue is serious, you can follow the extreme step. That is another matter. But in case of minor issues, if you are doing pay cut, if you are doing demotion, then what will happen? Will not be able to survive for longer time. Okay, so sequence, disciplinary action should follow in a sequence manner. First, you need to give oral warning, then written warning, then you can suspend or demote the employee, then you can cut some percentage from its salary. Then for extreme stage, you can go for dismissal. You can say goodbye. No, I'll not. You will not come for the work. Okay, so it should follow a sequential. It should be a sequential manner. It should be in a sequential manner. So progressive approach should be taken in case of disciplinary action. Next, let us see what are the guidelines. Then we'll have to decide location of responsibility. Location of responsibility means who will administer that disciplinary action, who will take care of that disciplinary action. If you are punishing a particular employee, who would be the appropriate person? Who will punish? So generally what happens, what should be in an organization, for minor disciplinary actions, supervisor can be engaged. For minor disciplinary actions like issuing giving oral warning, issuing written warning. So these are the these are at the first steps of disciplinary action. But in case of serious issues, supervisor or immediate supervisor should not be engaged. Why? If for serious issues like pay cut, demotion, if you are engaging the supervisor will lose control on his subordinates. Will lose control. Okay. So location of responsibility should be decided prior. Then proper formulation and communication of rules. This is in prior, you'll have to do it. You'll have to you'll have to make certain rules and regulations, some guidelines. You may have to give some handouts to the employees that you are expected to do that. You are not expected to do this kind of things, and it should be communicated properly so that the employees know in advance that I should not do this kind of behavior. Okay, so well in advance the employees should know. So proper formulation of communication and communication of rules is very important. Then rules and regulations, whatever you are formulating, that should be logical and that should be reasonable. What employee will be able to follow. If management formulates a particular rule or rules and regulation that is very, very tough to follow, that will not have any kind of implications in future. Okay, so rules and regulations should be reasonable. Then next, disciplinary actions should be taken in private. See, if your parents punish you, if he is punishing in public, then what will happen? You'll feel bad. You'll feel very, very bad. But if the situation happens in private, if your parents is punishing, if your parents are trying to rectify your behavior at your home in private, then what will happen? That much of seriousness may not come. Okay, so disciplinary action should be taken in private. It should not happen that if you are taking action against a particular employee and the whole organization uh, knows that okay, Mr. X is being punished. It should not happen. Okay, then get the facts before giving warning to a particular employee, before issuing a warning letter, before suspending employee, before demoting employee, you'll have to get certain facts. What are the real facts? Whether you are doing this kind of disciplinary action, whether you are trying to punish an employee without knowing the actual fact, that would be that would cost you a lot. So first you'll have to get the actual facts. Then action should be taken in cool atmosphere. If you are taking action, see, while you are taking action, obviously the atmosphere will become a bit serious. So actions should be taken in cool atmosphere so that lot of repercussions should not come. And after taking disciplinary action, the supervisor should treat his subordinate in a normal manner. Because if you have punished a particular employee, he has been punished for his deeds. Whatever he has done, he has been punished. But even after punishment, if you are not treating that employee in a normal manner, then what will happen? He will feel bad. It may so happen that he will not be interested to do the job in future. Okay, so these are the basic guidelines of disciplinary action. Now let us discuss about this hot stove rule. This is very interesting hot stove rule. This acts as guideline. We already have discussed the guidelines, a lot of that guidelines, but this is most interesting guideline for taking disciplinary action. You think about a hot stove, you think about a stove. If you are taking your hands to that stove, then what will happen? Your hand will get burned. Okay, so using that particular example, disciplinary action, we can take disciplinary action in that particular way. Let us see. In case of hot stove, it provides a warning. That means feels hot. Before touching that particular hot stove, you get ample warning. So before taking action against a particular employee, you'll have to give warning. So this is the first point. Second point, it should be consistent. That means burns every time. Each and every time you're touching a hot stove, you'll get burned. In the same way, each and every time, whosoever is doing mistake, he should be punished. He should be taken. He should face disciplinary action. So burn should be consistent. That means disciplinary action should be consistent. First, we discussed disciplinary action. For in case of disciplinary action, lot of warning will give. Then third, it is immediate. Immediate means burns now. Is it happen that you are touching a hot stove and you are feeling hot? Your hand will get burned after 10 minutes. Is it happen? No. Burn is immediate. So if you need to take disciplinary action against a particular employee, you should take it immediately. It should not happen that he has done some mistake today and you are taking action 3 months after 3 months. It should not happen. So you'll have to take action. You'll have to redress the issue immediately, as early as possible, for the so that the organization runs smoothly. So burn should be immediate and impersonal. Burn should be impersonal. It doesn't happen that you are touching the stove, you'll feel hot, you'll get burned, and if your father is touching that particular stove, your father will not get burned. It doesn't happen. So in the same way, disciplinary action should be impersonal. Whosoever is showing undesirable behavior, whosoever is doing misconduct, he should face the disciplinary action. It should not happen that you're doing some kind of partiality depending on the employees. If you are punishing Mr. X, you'll have to punish Mr. Y for the same reason. Okay, so this is hot stove rule for taking disciplinary action. So for today, we are ending this video here. I hope you have understood, and we'll discuss in my next video what are the code of conducts. So thank you for your patience.